Today, my guest is someone known around the islands for using a local produce and making amazing products with it. He uses ulu, which is the name for breadfruit. Now, he makes chips, different flavored chips, different seasonings. All of them are really good. But the thing I really like, and I was really happy that he actually brought some to share with me and my family, was the hummus. That's right, ulu hummus or breadfruit hummus. But as we will learn in this conversation, ulu is not something that is so readily available, even here in the tropical islands of Hawaii. We talk about his business. We talk about consumer packaged goods at large. And this is someone who I met through a small business accelerator here in Hawaii. Me for my family's salad dressing, but for him, it's something that he created. He's the founder of Ulu Mana. Great chips, great hummus, great products, great person. And also, I really picked his mind about his experience with farmers markets because when we first met, he shared with me that's where he came from, was doing farmers markets in Hawaii. So I take this opportunity to ask questions that I asked him in that first year I met him when we were in this small business accelerator. And I hope that this gives some of you entrepreneurs out there who are making your own products, whether it's family recipe or it's something completely new that you want to put out there on the market, you want to test out. I hope that this episode will give you specifically a little bit more insight into how things are done, especially if you're a small business owner here in Hawaii, because the rules, the situations are very, very different being so isolated out here in the ocean. So with that, please enjoy this episode with Loren Shoop. For starters, I'm here at Loren Shoop, Big Island. He lives on Oahu now, and we know each other through a local startup. Well, not local business accelerator that helps small businesses and startups. And so that's how we met. That was 2019. Shout out to Mana Up, cohort four. Yeah. I think it's like 9 or something now.
I think they're eight. At least eight.
When we, December is when I saw you at Bloomingdale's when they had the showcase. It was the first showcase in a couple of years. I think that was cohort 8 or 9.
Was it?
I remember thinking, it doubled. Yeah. That's what I remember thinking.
Okay, yeah.
But our showcase was the best.
Yeah. That's right. Pre-COVID.
So yeah, man, like how do you self-introduce yourself? Like, go ahead, tell people who you are.
My name is Loren Shoop, born and raised over on the Big Island. My mom was also born and raised over there, so I still have a lot of family there, all my cousins, aunties, uncles, and all that. I've been on Oahu the past 11 years, almost 12 years, and I've been involved in the local value-added local food products here in Hawaii. So basically something like they would grow macadamia nuts. So a company would flavor and roast them and package it, and then I will be the one that goes and sells it at farmers markets or stores and things like that. So I've been working with companies that make like jams and jellies out of local fruits and veggies, coffees, teas, honeys, just pretty much anything you can imagine that has to do with like Hawaii local agriculture and a value-added product. So I haven't sold a lot of like commodities where I'm just selling the raw product. I'm in the value-added where it's like a CPG, like a consumer packaged good. So that maybe the airports or foodlands or down to earth, or like I said, I sell them at farmers markets. Now since COVID, we've reached, like everyone else, reached into the e-commerce side of it. So we have that rolling around. That's called Hawaiian Farmers Market. So yeah, just kind of involved in the local agriculture scene.
I feel like if I was educated enough, we could deep dive on the conversation that surrounds Hawaii, sustainability, food resiliency, those kind of conversations.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think 2020 put that on the map for most people as far as, oh, shit, there's no ships coming, or toilet paper was the obvious one.
Yeah.
But I thought about food and sustainability. Also, as someone who, when I moved back to Hawaii in 2016, that's when I started fishing. And so it's, I don't know, 5+ years now. And that really opened my eyes to the fragile nature of food and the connection that we have to it. It's also was my way of reconnecting with the ocean. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm too old to be like at Sandy's anymore. Yeah. Like, I don't want to risk it.
You got kids, man.
I got kids. I'm like, if I'm out, like limping for 2 weeks, it's not the same.
No good. Yeah.
But I can go to the beach, come back with something to eat. So like that really rekindled my love for the ocean, going to the ocean. But then it kind of led to unforeseen like thoughts of, what if I had to make my own? And fishing, if you fish, you probably farm. If you farm, you probably hunt. If you hunt, you probably fish. There's like this sustainability culture that's been here, right? And I feel like I just started tapping into it here in my mid 30s.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like, oh man, this whole time I should have been. But like when you say value added goods, this is, keep in mind, I'm coming from the digital product realm, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
before we met, I was doing videos. My products were digital. The way you described it was a lot of physical things.
Yes,
You're dealing with hummus. We get into the hunt. There's a cooler right here full of that. That's what, a 2-week expiration date. We're dealing with things that are super, super fragile, things that are physical, tangible. And there's a whole bunch of hoops when it comes to legalities and all those things, permits and stuff. And Hawaiian Farmers Market, we'll get into that. But like, first, like set the scene, because it was a huge hurdle for me coming from digital goods to like packaged goods, CPG good, right?
Yeah.
With the family's dressing, Swiss and dressing. So I had to learn a whole lot of stuff real quick just to kind of survive. And then I was thrown into the business accelerator with you, put next to people like you, like everything you just said. Back then when I heard it, I'm like, oh my goodness. That's what I imagine when people are like, wait, what? FX3?
Yeah.
You know, like what? I'm FPS with ISO? Like that was me, but listening to you guys, and go ahead, set the scene. Like, what is a value added good? What is a commodity? What is a consumer packaged good? What is wholesale? What is retail? What is direct to customer? Like, give us a basic landscape.
So real simple. So a commodity is something that's like traded in bulk. A lot of other people grow it or create it. So like rice is a commodity, wheat is a commodity, like mac nuts is a commodity. I mean, they come from a bunch of different places. You can buy them in bulk. It's hard to manipulate or change pricing, is because so many people are selling it across the world that it's like, this is the price, you know, it might go up or down. And then, you know, you have some big companies, conglomerates and stuff that can maybe go to that, hey man, let's you know, get the price down a little bit, or let's raise the price, or, you know, this and that. But besides that, it's, you know, somewhat stable pricing, you know, unless there's like, you know, gas is an issue or something like that. But a commodity is basically something that a lot of people grow or have, and it's just traded out in the open, and it's you can kind of get the same price across the world. And then a value added product is perfect examples like a macadamia nut. Like I could sell you a macadamia nut in the husk, like here you go. And then that's more of a commodity. Like that's, people just trade those. But I'm going to add value by cracking it out of the nut. I'm going to roast it. I'm going to flavor it. I'm going to put it in a bag for you. So I've added all of this value to the macadamia nut, but I'm going to make a lot more money off of it because I just did all this work to make it available for you to easy to eat at home in your kitchen. So you don't have to crack it open. It's the world's hardest nut. So that's for starters. Like
harder than the Brazilian nut.
Harder than Brazilian nut. Yeah, it's the world's hardest nut is a macadamia nut. So again, I added value to a farm product essentially. So like sashimi or something like, or ahi, right? So the fisherman catches the ahi, he goes to auction, he sells it. So that's more of a commodity product. But then someone's going to add value by slicing it up, maybe drying it. That's a good one. So like our buddies, Kaimana Jerky over in the Big Island, they take the commodity, which is tuna, and then they slice it up, they dehydrate it, and make it into jerky, and then they sell it to you for way more than what they purchased it for. Obviously, there's a lot of loss and water weight loss and things like that, but they're adding value to a commodity product. So that's basically what's happening. So again, a farmer makes a product, and then someone like me or you or something adds value to the product and then resells it. Instead of just taking a mac nut and just reselling it again as a mac nut, we add value and then resell it as a flavored mac nut or a roasted or something like that. And then wholesale would be a business like mine that manufactured this value-added product and sold it to like a Foodland. So Foodland is a retailer. So I sell it to them at a wholesale rate, so lower than what the customer is going to buy, and then the customer is going to buy it at the retail rate. So for simple or math, I guess. So if I sell it, let's say I sell it to you for $2, and then you sell it your Foodland. So let's say I sell it to Foodland for $2, and then you're gonna turn and sell it to the consumer for like $3.50, something like that. Or if you go to direct to consumer, if instead of me charging the consumer $2, I'll charge them $3.50. So then I make more of that money, but I'm also doing the work, right? I'm doing marketing, I'm shipping it to you, I'm hosting the Shopify website, things like that. So when me as a manufacturer sells it to another business, that's called wholesale. And then when I sell it direct to a customer, it's called DTC, direct to consumer. And yeah, there's a little breakdown of those words.
You know, it's something you so like. The reason I brought that up was because just the other week we were at Costco, and you know, my 6-year-old daughter is very, very like, she's absorbing everything, right? She's going to school. She's reading things. She's in that mode where like she's gonna read the box. Ulu chips. Ulu mana. What is INC? Like she's at that stage, and so she said, "What is wholesale?" You know, bigger words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What is that? Yeah.
Yeah, so she sounded out. She said it like the first time too. I was like, oh man. But then the question is, what is wholesale?
Yeah.
And I was like, if you can explain it to a 6-year-old and a 6-year-old gets it, that means you really understand
You're
it.
doing pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to explain things to a 6-year-old, but it helps you as a person explaining it, learn it better to be able to package it up. Kind of like a value added, what you're saying. Like, there's the raw commodity. Let me package it up for you.
Yeah.
I felt like that process with info. I was like, okay, what is wholesale?
Yeah.
And I, you know, like I understand it better now today than because of my experience selling CPG and learning. And you know, in Hawaii, it's a thing. It's a whole different thing as far as what I've understood. But I said like, I forgot my exact explanation. I was like, I remember I said it first, and I was like, she ain't gonna get it. I think I said, it's a cheaper per unit price. Oh. I said something like that.
Yeah.
And as soon as I said, I'm like, oh, okay, wait, back up.
Yeah.
And then I tried to explain like units, measurements. I'm like, how can I make it like simple? And I don't know where I ended because I was driving. I had to turn, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember I started with, it's just a cheaper per unit price.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That ain't gonna help anybody.
Yeah.
Then I kind of opened my eyes to, well, I do want to have my children grow up with a different set of toolbox as far as like info than I did, because my dad wasn't trying to tell me what wholesale was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just kind of really started that conversation that's ongoing. Her homework today will be to listen to Uncle Loren.
Yeah. It's gonna be a long one, so watch out.
But you know, and I think the other part of it is not just 6-year-olds out there, but people in general. Tell me not. 2020, right? Everyone rethought their money making strategies.
Oh yeah.
And in that, there are a lot of people who started businesses, not just e-commerce, but people who like, either I cannot go into my job's telling me not to come in. I'm here consuming all this information on the internet. Now I have the time to actually put some action behind these things I'm thinking about. And a lot of times that will come out as, hey, I started this, I started that. And when you so I've had conversations with people in that year where for us, I'm sure, like CPG, especially if you have a product in a grocery store, 2020 was actually a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, food.
Right?
People got to eat.
And I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
The online store, the DTC also was like,
exploded.
Dang, right?
Yeah.
And I think people who their entry to this world was in 2020, they were jumping in like head first. And then I had these conversations about DTC, wholesale, retail, margins. And then I was kind of digging into the memory banks in my notes of like every time after a man-up session, on my ride home all the way, like west side over here, I would like do voice memos, trying to digest, reiterate, and kind of like learn what I just learned. And so that was real helpful. But I came to the realization, and I want to ask you, because you're still doing it. I have my thoughts, but I want to hear yours. Like, what are the biggest like hurdles for somebody in Hawaii doing CPG? Like, if they're starting today, what would you be like? Okay, handle this first.
Yeah. Oh man, where do you even start? Packaging cost is probably a big one, or unique packaging cost, because we can go down to our local packaging supplier, but they only have a very limited amount of packaging. And in this day and age, a lot of people like really unique packaging. So it's like, they may have to fly to LA and talk with a packaging consultant over there and be like, hey, what's even available? Because through all the things I've experienced, like the more I am aware of what's out there, like the better I become. And like that's really hindered me a lot was like I only knew what this little packaging store down the road, and they have like 5 bags, and that's my options, right? Is you can get the pink one, the gold one, the clear one. Have a good one. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, but if you go to LA or somewhere else, they could have like thousands and thousands of packaging, and they have like tons of suppliers, and it's like then you can create some really unique looking products like glass jars here in Hawaii. There's like a few glass jars.
Yeah, see,
and I'm sure that's what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a few glass jars. Like which one do I pick to look like everybody else?
The 12-ounce ring neck.
Yeah. So it's like, so it's, I mean, that's just one little start. We actually got shipping pretty good because shipping things to Hawaii is very expensive because everything's coming here, but nothing's going that way. So shipping away from Hawaii isn't really that expensive compared to shipping here. So that's actually a plus, I would say. But yeah, just the general, like, business taxes here, it's not the best for us.
What do you mean by that though? I just started, I want to do CPG. My grandma has a recipe. Help me.
Yeah.
and then I hear you say taxes aren't the best.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I guess as a startup, I wouldn't really even, think about that. It's more like when you're way down the road, maybe that comes into play. But man, what else is just
packaging, shipping.
Yeah, food. Oh yeah. So ingredients. There you go. So like depending again on what you're doing, food or it doesn't have a CPG doesn't have to be food. It could be something else. But just a consumer packaged good. You go to the store and you just buy it, go home with it. So yeah, ingredients is like insane. Like for example, make my hummus. Like, is Chef Sung going to have like tahini this month or week or day? Maybe not, Are they going to have like lemon juice? Are they, is the garlic going to be in, like garlic went up like double. It was like crazy. Like when I buy garlic, it was usually like $20 and then all of a sudden it was like $50. I'm like, what is happening?
Wait, what? The 5-pound bag?
No, yeah, the 5-pound garlic bag. Yeah. It went from like $23 to like $50 something. And I was like, no, this is a mistake. There's no way this is real.
It wasn't a mistake.
Yeah. And then, like, that was crazy. So just in general, like ingredients is like, oh my God, like, yeah, making hummus gets difficult because like if I get low on stuff and I got to find things, I just got to hope they're there.
So what, like, okay, let's use that example. Oh shit, garlic just doubled. So now my cost of goods equation just got fucked up. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm going to go ahead and renegotiate a contract with all my accounts, with all my retail accounts.
Yeah.
So in that process, do you just automatically have a certain amount of percentage that you're buffering for, and or you have a plan where, okay, my cost of goods changed this much. That means I need to do X, Y, Z, and maybe my online sales, I need to launch.
Yeah, you got to do something. I mean, to run a business, you have to make money so it's sustained, right? So let's say if you have a really good, like, I want to save the fish, or I don't know, something. You want to save something, right? You created this business to help save like wildlife or something, right? Okay. So, and you're not trying to overcharge people, but if you want to save the wildlife, you still have to make money so you can donate to the wildlife foundations and things like that. So no matter what, you still got to be making money. So it still has to be on your mind, like, okay, this business has to survive.
Yeah.
If I have to charge an extra $1 a product, well, I got to do it because I really want to donate to help save the wildlife. So that's what we're going to do. And, and the consumer is going to pay more, but you got to stay alive, because if you don't, then you're not supporting the wildlife, so you got to figure out like how to make it work. You just got to do it. End of story.
So one of the things I did with the dressing was start the online store, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're in there and, on the back end of Shopify, and you're like, okay, you're entering a new product. Okay. You're putting the price, and it has like different, here's the cost of goods.
Yeah.
And so that made me like, once you're there, you're like, duh. But until you get there, you just didn't know about it. So then I'm like, I need to have some sort of working equation formula. It's easy when you control the shop. It's an online store. But like one thing that I never got to was like all these retail accounts, if my cost of goods changes, every delivery, is my invoice changing? Like if you got 12 cases last week and this week you got 12 cases. But
so, I mean, kind of what I don't know if I say I do or not, but basically, I would just raise it up more than you think. Okay, it's like, let's say if you want to make 45% margin or whatever your number is.
Yeah.
go 55.
Right.
And then that'll kind of equate for the little bit of the, changes. Cause sometimes some things maybe go down, some things may go up. Nothing really goes down, but anyways, in a perfect world, something might go down.
Yeah.
But you just got to go more, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're selling to a store, and you're usually selling to like the store manager or the receiver, the buyer.
Yeah.
And you want to make it easy for them to purchase your product. This is a big one that a lot of people, I don't think, get, but you have to make it easy for your customer, and your customer could be a store, and you have to make it easy for them to buy your product.
Mm-hmm.
If you make it difficult for them, oh man, Kenji, man, he changes the price every week. I can't keep up with this. It's crazy. Like, they're not going to buy from you, and you're going to be out of business a lot sooner than you think. So I would say just charge a higher price, even though they're paying more and they may not want to do that. But if you come to them every week with a different price, they ain't going to be into that. They're going to be like, hey man, you know what? We got another dressing guy. He's been at $6 a bottle for like 2 years. We're just going to stick with him. Like, we really don't want it. You're causing too much trouble for us, because, they're not making a ton of money off your dressing. A grocery store might make money off of like selling groceries, like, like produce or something like that, or milk or eggs but they're, dressing, like, okay, they probably have like 10 other dressings. Why?
It's more like 1,000.
1,000 other dressings.
1,000 island, no, it's 1,000 dressings.
1,000 island dressings. Yeah. So you, at the end of the day, you want to make it easy for them. So what I try to do in my company is like, I've so far in the past 3 years, I've done one price increase every year at the beginning of the season. And that's just my price for the rest of the year, no matter what. If I'm biting the bullet or whatever, I just, hey, this is the price. It's going to be like that all of 2022. I'll let you know what it is in 2023. And that's what we're doing,
Gotcha.
And then that's why, okay, I don't have to go to Foodland and take a month to like change my prices there. The buyer knows what's going on. Everyone knows what's going on. And then, hey, next year, sorry, we got to go up, whatever it is. Right. And I'll dress it next year when the next season rolls around. But yeah, there's no way anyone should be, unless it's a very specific product, like, that's a normal thing you do. But in general, yeah, you don't want to be messing with prices all the time, because you want to make it very, very simple. You want to deliver on time. You want to deliver fast. And you want to make it very easy for whoever's buying your product to buy your product, and they'll buy more product. Yeah.
And, I wish, like, although like we had so much cohort 4, right? We had a lot of, I felt what the biggest takeaway for me was, I felt like the networking, the connections, and then also how tangible a successful CPG, or was there all CPG? I feel like there was everybody had CPG, right?
That
in our cohort.
I
want to.
Yeah, it was like clothing,
but it was.
Yeah,
I think it was. I want to say, like, I felt the success for CPG was so tangible after that, because of being put at the same table of like Mauna Loa, CEO, like going to Tory Richards, like shout out to Josh, like all of that kind of stuff made it feel super tangible, which is great. But I really wanted this kind of conversation where it's like, no. Today we're just talking about pricing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how many times I messed up in the past. Like, obviously you want to create that cushion from the get, right?
Yeah.
But what is that cushion? Let me hear what cushion you tried before and what happened. How did you do differently? Okay. What did you try? What happened? What did you do different? Okay, great. But it's almost like there's that vulnerability there with like numbers and margin percents. I remember one number that I came away from that was, I was like, 35%. That's what these like supermarket retailer, these stores, they want to preserve that margin. So when you're talking to a buyer, you can work backwards. Like, okay, they're going to want at least 35%.
Yeah.
And so you can work that into your pricing and negotiation. And I was like, you know what? I don't even think that might've came from like a Pauhana or something. I forgot exactly when that came out, but I remember it's like, oh, I needed that.
Yeah.
A solid objective.
Just a number.
Work from there. And so like I did. And like, it was kind of scary, but it's like, can that 30, whatever percent you say, let's just say I want a 50% margin, right? Is that going to be accountable, or can that be enough of a cushion for the unthinkable?
Yeah.
Like no one knows, right? So it's always like a guess part.
Yeah. What I kind of tried to do is I went backwards. So I went, how much will someone pay for this product? Will they pay $7, $8, $9, $10? Like, what is someone going to pay for this product? And I kind of worked the numbers back like that.
When you say someone, you're talking about the buyer or
The consumer. So
Okay,
like the end of line consumer. Like
Yeah.
when they walk into a store, are they going to buy a bag of chips for $7 or $9? Like what's the limit? You know, where are we at? You know, I mean, if they can only buy it for $4, then I'm not going to do chips. I'm going to go do something else because there's obviously no money. So before really getting into anything, I just say, hey, like, what do I think, or what I've seen through sales and the products out there, what is a consumer willing to pay for like this product? And then I work it backwards. Okay, so then the food line or, you know, the retail store is going to need 35% margin or somewhere up or down of that number.
Yeah.
Generally, that's just a basic number. And then say, okay, then like, what do I need? Do I need 50%, 30%, 60%, like whatever? And then I kind of work it down. Okay, then here's my costs. I try to do it just the other way and see, because you want to start at the top. What you definitely shouldn't do is say, okay, these are my costs. This is how much I want to make. This probably sounds bad, but anyways,
No,
yeah. So it's like, this is my
plenty
cost.
people are taking notes right now.
Yeah, like, oh, what is it? Okay, cool.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, got it. Yeah. So what I think you shouldn't do would be to get your cost, get your margin, what you think you want to make, and then that comes to a number. Let's say it's $3 or whatever,
Right.
and like, okay, I'm going to wholesale my product for $3, and then the store is going to add their 35% margin and sell it for like $4.75 or I don't know, whatever that number is,
$4,
$5.25.
Yeah.
And then, so now your product is sitting on the shelf at $5.25 when you could have sold it for, when the consumer would have bought it for $7. So you just, there's $1.75 out there in the world that you just missed out.
Right.
Like, why would you do that? So you should start the other way and say, oh, I think they're going to pay $7. Maybe you don't know, but you're going to guess you're going to pay around $7. And then you go, okay, the store is going to take 35%. So, okay, and now I have to sell it to them for like $4.19 or something like that. Okay, so is my cost, whatever my costs are, is that enough margin for me? And then maybe it's way more than you want. Great. And then when you ask me about all these, like, oh, things go up and down, whatever. Yeah, great. Now I got all this cushion.
But it's still green.
Cushion.
It's still positive.
It's all green. It's all green. Yeah. So I don't think you should limit yourself, and it's really hard to go up. You know, and if you know, that's what I'm saying. When you say like, oh, every day I got to raise my price up, like, well, or every week, like that obviously going to work. But
that ain't gonna work.
So if you go to the store and say, hey man, it's $4, and you know, and then a couple of months later, oh man, you know, it's $4.50. Like, oh dude, it was $4. Like, what? Why? And then, oh man, and then 2 months after that, oh, and now it's $5. Like, what's going on? You know, so start up, and you can always work your way back. If it's too expensive, you can always go down 100%. If you say, hey man, the consumer's really not buying this at $7, I better lower my wholesale so the store lowers their price, and then I'll start selling more. You can always do that, but going up is not good.
I heard.
Yeah.
Or up too often, right?
Yeah.
You know, like
Up
once
to,
a year.
once a year, you know, every 6 months, totally understandable. But like, you know, every month or two or something, you want to try to do less often than that.
You know, when I took what is that called? Like the helm. When I took the helm,
Yeah.
I was like, price increase, duh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because then that's the first time I kind of looked under the hood and looked at. I was like, wait, this is
it's not making sense here.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I did at a reasonable rate, not like every month, but I thought like, dude, my cost is changing every month.
Yeah.
So okay, there's a cushion there, great, but there's other ways to go about, at least with expenses or who you hire, stuff. There's other ways, other parts of the equation you can move around. But I know that there's, for the dressing example, there's a lot of competition.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I know. Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
And so for me, I did a lot of market research, like you're saying. Every time I was in any place with glass bottles, I'd be looking at the glass bottles themselves. I'd be looking at the labels, like where is it being manufactured? Can I get in contact? Like if I can trace it back, where are these people sourcing theirs from? The labels themselves, the caps, shrink wrap, like all these things that are just foreign to me. I'm like, that cost this much with this person. I got this quote from that person. This person always doesn't answer, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then I was like, well, first of all, there's an aisle. There's literally a wall that the consumer, the end use consumer is looking at. How am I going to pop out in here? Number one, can I get the relationship that puts me at the end of the aisle? Number two, what are my differentiating factors? It's not going to be just the label. And then the pricing. So in my phone, I had just an album of just every store.
Yeah.
I would take pictures of like,
Yeah.
I like this label. I don't like this label.
Yep.
Look at how this store puts
Yep.
the light over here is weird. Like
Yep.
I went hard in just looking at how salad dressing are sold at retailers or at supermarkets in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And there's a huge, I think that Hidden Valley, there's one that was like 2 something one time.
Yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to compete with
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
On, man?
But I know I can compete because I ain't no Hidden Valley
Yeah.
or Craft or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But the range was so big and the systems behind it, as it kept digging, I'm like, whoa, this was bottled somewhere in Texas and shipped this X, Y, Z. Like there's a system at play here that I respected.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, yo, this product is moving.
Yeah.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it now.
Yeah.
It's just one thing that I couldn't like fully go into the way I felt that it deserved, that product deserved. And I just feel like that little problem that is isolated to me, my family, and that experience is something shared across a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Where the more and the more you do it, the better and better you get, the more and more you see like how the big dogs are doing it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like for you've been doing it way longer than me, way longer than most. Is there like, who's the big dog to you? What is that for me, that feeling like almost overwhelming?
Yeah. I mean, well, this is like way beyond, but like, you know, like Frito-Lay, for example, like I'm pretty sure it's Frito-Lay. Like when you go to a grocery store and, you know, all those big bags that look, you know, generally like Doritos and all that, they're generally like the same size and kind of look and feel. That's the whole thing is owned by Frito-Lay. So Frito-Lay goes in and we're taking 30 feet like this and we're taking 6 feet like that. And that's all us. Thank you, Safeway, or thank you, Foodland, or thank you, whoever. And that's the deal. Like, I don't know the negotiations or whatever they do. I have no idea. But that's what they do. So, like, this is what happened when I was selling to the military. So I had a military I still do have a military contract, sell to the grocery stores. And I just remember one day, like, you know, it was like chips and, you know, big chip aisle, whatever. And we had pretty good placement. And then I remember I went in one day and the whole freaking line just all the way down was just like Frito-Lay. I'm like, what is this? Or like, oh yeah, they just said, or whatever, they agreed to give them like this much space. And then my stuff was like moved to like a whole nother area. I was like, what? Like, what are you what's going on? But they own like every brand. I'm pretty sure it's Frito-Lay. They own like every brand. The whole thing was just them. And they had like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 different flavors of stuff and sizes and, you know, with salt, without salt, lime, Cheetos, or whatever, you know, Doritos, Cool Ranch, all that. It was crazy.
And so how does Mr. Loren compete, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's at scale. It's
Yeah. Well, you know, I got to go, we're a special product. You're a special product made in Hawaii, or it's like, it's a good product. You know, it's like a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia with your product. So it's like, we can charge more and we're attracting somewhat of a different buyer and a different experience. Like if I'm trying to feed my family of 4 every day, you know, yeah, I'll probably go buy like, you know, a basic tortilla chip brand or whatever, or Costco or something like that. But if I want like something special for me, like, hey, once a week, you know, I'll buy Ulu chips once a week. And, you know, for a business like mine, if everyone in Hawaii bought my chips one time a week, obviously I couldn't even fulfill that, but that would be a huge business for me, you know? So it's like, I'm not saying, you know, even once a month, everyone bought Ulu chips once a month in Hawaii. Massive company.
so what % of the market share do you think you have?
Oh, like,
0.
uncountable.
What?
Like, yeah, like
0.
off the calculator. Like too many zeros the other way. Yeah.
Even just Hawaii.
No,
I mean, Frito-Lay has
not even. I've never even thought about that. That's how low it is. I've never even crossed my mind on that. I do know that like we do sell well compared to other natural chip products like Terra. And like just other like in the natural chip category, I guess that's maybe with pita chips or something like that. I don't know who else is all in that, but like sweet potato chips. But whatever that is, I know we're right there with them, doing just as good. So it's not like, oh, we'll carry you because we feel bad and you're local. It's like, oh no, your product does so well. And, you know, luckily a lot of the people we work with give us great, aisle space, and they may put us on an end cap, which when we're on an end caps, it just moves. It moves.
I see you at Foodland Farms a lot, bro.
Yeah. So with our product, it's a really I can't think of the word right now. It's a can't think of it.
Boutique.
No, it's like when you see it, you just buy it. Whatever. I can't even think of that expression right now, but it's like
automatic, systematic.
Yeah, it's just automatic buy. It's just when you like, it's when you see it, oh, that's here too. Oh, I'll buy one.
There is a term for that.
I don't know. We can't think of it right now, but yeah. So my product does very well when it's displayed like on an. I mean, a lot of products do well when they display in these places, but mine definitely does well when it's presented to you, like not stuffed in an aisle somewhere, but when you can see it, people buy it. So if it's presented well, like people do buy our product, and this is across Hawaii. This isn't just Honolulu. This isn't just the airports. This is just generally if it's in a good location, someone can just grab it. Like, oh, I'll buy a sandwich. Oh, Ulu chips is here. Oh yeah, cool. I'm gonna buy one.
What markets are you in?
So like we're in all types of markets, I guess, but like, like Foodlands, Down to Earth, Tamura's, a lot. I love dealing with like mom and pop stores. They're my favorite. One, because they don't have like usually delivery times, and that's like my favorite thing because I can just roll up whenever. It's
after all the receiving clothes here.
Yeah. So because like for like bigger stores, they have a cutoff of like 12 o'clock. So it's like if I don't make it by 12, I have to wait the whole another day. But like mom and pops, like Kokua Market, I can roll up there at 7 p.m. on my way home. And I'm like, hey guys, here's your order. And like, oh yeah, sweet,
Thanks, Loren.
Yeah, and I'll just go put it on the shelf. So I love dealing with mom and pops, and like that's the people I want to support too, and they support me. And a lot of times they do give really good prices on my products. Like they're not charging like crazy amounts to the consumer, and I really like that. But I love dealing with mom and pop. So I have a lot of like outer island, I don't know if more than Oahu, but I have a lot of stores on like Kauai, Big Island. Like I just picked up KTA, which is again born and raised Big Island, and I'd go KTA like every day buy musubi, and like I'm so happy to be in KTA. Like you don't even know, like, it's pretty cool.
That's what my friend from my Hilo friend was like. Wait, people always say, oh, when they want to support, they're like, oh, what about this place? That's one place that someone was like, what about that?
Yeah.
But what about like mainland or
I'm not even
Japan or
no. So obviously in the future, someday that's like where we're going, but I'm not even going that direction. Yeah, there's like, I don't know, maybe a couple stores on the mainland that have sold or currently carry my chips, and I just FedEx it to them. Like I said, we have good rates going that way. Yeah. Not good rates coming this way. So I literally just mailed them my product, and it still works. Like they're still able to sell it and make a good margin on there. And
even the hummus?
No, this is all chips I'm talking about. Okay. Everything I'm pretty much talking about is chips.
Because when I was at your kitchen, you're like boxing hummus too with like the ice packs, but those are for Hawaii orders?
Yes, those are Hawaii orders. Yeah. So like I do ship the hummus to outer islands, and honestly, I sell hummus almost exclusively on outer islands. Like I only have like Kokua Market on this island and Celestial Natural Foods on North Shore, and it's pretty much it.
Not Tamura's?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
Nah, it's just hummus. Yeah, so that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, hummus I gave it a good shot, man. I gave it like 2-3 years to like really do it. I brought on some guys, really tried to make deliveries like every day, and really pushed it, but it just ended up not working. It's a short shelf life, like up to like 3 weeks. And long story short, like the deal you have to make with some stores is like, hey man, I'll buy it back if it doesn't sell. Yeah, and I was losing so much money doing that, trying to make it work, that I just said, forget it, we're done. We're not doing that anymore. People love the product. It's a great product, but it just didn't work.
Even in a small batch catering type of way, it wouldn't work.
That's what I'm doing now. I mean, it's basically just me. I make it like a couple times, once every 2 weeks or once a week or something like that in small batches. But it's just, and the people that love it, they can find it and I get it to them. But other than that, like it's really not a priority for me now. Maybe someday if some things change and,
because that's good, bro. Yeah. That's one thing that I might hide in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the problem. There's people like you that want it so much. That's why I keep making it. Yeah. Let me go. Let me stop making it.
No, I didn't get any.
Yeah.
I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But is the bottleneck then of like entering, let's say like if Whole Foods was like, yo, come in our West Coast region or whatever, is the problem or the bottleneck simply the ulu itself?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's the problem. Yeah.
There's not enough ulu.
Yeah, no, not enough. Yeah. So
On Oahu or just in Hawaii?
in Hawaii in general. Yeah. I mean, if every single fruit ever grown in Hawaii, like somehow made it to my door and somehow was able to process it all, like, now we're talking, but yeah, no.
So
no.
there's no room there for like, you see it with other leafy greens where there's all these different solutions of like vertical farms and, hydroponic, all these different systems that facilitate a higher capacity output. Maybe even it's some kind of Frankenstein version of a ulu fruit, you know what I mean? Like ethics and stuff aside, like
that's my job now. My job now is to figure out how to get more breadfruit or how to have it all year long. Like that's my job. If you ask me like what we're doing now, like that's my current job. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm doing.
So there's no hope of like importing from somewhere else.
Maybe potentially, if I'm definitely not against that. But yeah, it's just creating partnerships and trying to figure it all out and the logistics and like finding someone to really trust overseas, things like that. But yeah, there's a lot that gets in that whole side that now I'm working on, but stay tuned. Maybe, maybe next time.
Well, one thing I was surprised about to learn was the sourcing of the macadamia nuts.
Yeah.
And how it cannot be all from Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah.
For a very popular chocolate covered macadamia nut that we all know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not. The reason is it can't be. And then you look at, I want to say, what's the bread? What's it called?
King's Hawaiian.
King's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing. I'm like, so the business side is like great to grow. You have to go move your factory somewhere else. You have to be able to scale.
Yeah.
Same thing I faced when I stopped mixing the dressing myself and hired a commercial kitchen. Had to train the staff there how to make it. There is an amount of letting go of what you hold as sacred, or I don't know, sacred is kind of an overstep, but like the product.
Yeah.
But when you look at the realities of making a larger impact, getting in more refrigerators, having more people like hide it in the refrigerator.
Well, this is the kind of thing when you say like, oh, I want to start a business to help the wildlife. Okay, so is the goal to help as much wildlife as possible, or is the goal to only make product in Hawaii with Hawaii grown products? I don't know. I mean, that's for you to decide or for your company to decide, but that's kind of it. But if your main goal is like, hey, I want to help as much wildlife as possible, so that means I need to sell as much, product as possible, and you're not lying to people. You're not saying, oh, this is made in Hawaii and it's made somewhere else. Like that's no good no matter how you cut it.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But it's like, if your goal is to help as much wildlife, then you're going to try to be as big as possible. And that's maybe you do have to manufacture the mainland. Maybe you do have to do these other things, but at no means are you going to say like made in Hawaii or this and that. But you got to grow. You got to grow. If that's your main goal, if your goal is say, hey man, I'm going to grow as big as I can, but I'm only going to use Hawaii grown produce, and that's how big I'm going to be. Great, good. You've done your thing. So it's really like up to the business, and like I do have to say, like these bigger companies, like I do know some of them, and they're really nice they're doing great things with the like the revenue that they're getting. Like they're doing really great things for people in Hawaii. So it's not just like they're just using the Hawaii name and running around and like not helping Hawaii. Like they really do come back and help Hawaii. So it's like they're
I think that speaks to the larger picture of the word Hawaii, how it can be commoditized, how people can rep without like having the rights to rep kind of thing. I think it's a larger thing that a lot of people who we would call it being pono, right? You can't, come on. If people are looking, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like you're just using the name to make gains. And what are you actually giving back to this name that you're using to elevate yourself? Oh, you're using it to elevate other people in the community? Great.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many CPG families, like multi-generational. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the newer ones, and even myself on a smaller scale of if you improve yourself, your family being from Hawaii too, you are improving the larger picture of what Hawaii, the identity of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And Hawaii now is so like, just look on Instagram and stuff, like how it's easy to say, this is Hawaii, this cannot be Hawaii. And especially when it gets to like mainland versus Hawaii, no matter what industry you're looking at, there's that kind of like versus attitude, us, them. But really, if we look at the larger picture of the history, like people from this island also visited other places in the world and came back better and shared it.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's that
Like
business.
the flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is the
Yeah.
Union Jack?
Yeah.
You know how many times I have to answer that question in Japan?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's a good question. Why is the Union Jack?
Yeah.
It's because of this openness of ideas, communication,
Yeah.
visiting other places, but coming back home and providing.
Yeah.
Coming back home and enhancing, elevating back home.
Yeah.
And if your means of doing that is business, you're still fulfilling that same promise, that same thing that's been happening for centuries.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a Hawaii-based business that's really what you're going for, right? The taxes are coming back here. A lot of people are employed here. Like everything is coming and tied back to here, you know? So it's like, this is where the money's coming from. They might do charities, might do giveaway. They might do a lot of things that help schools and things like that. So as long as the money's like coming back here, you know, that's really what you want. And you're improving what you like your home. Right?
And you're not like taking the name Hawaii and putting a bad rep on it by doing something that you shouldn't be doing somewhere else.
Yeah. Like the Hawaiian, I guess a good example would be like, I don't know the ins and outs, but there's that Hawaiian potato chip company, right? Like this, the Maui onion flavored potato chips, and it says Hawaiian on it or something.
Yeah.
That's Frito-Lay, right? I'm pretty sure that's Frito-Lay.
Yeah.
So that's a perfect example of like what not to do, you know? So, you know, if those are made here or the company was based here or something and the money was flowing this way, that's a different, it's totally different. But they're just making it in the mainland, calling it Hawaiian Maui onion potato chips, and the money goes to like Texas or something.
They're profiting off what is this Hawaii, and they're not giving back. It's that give back, right?
Yeah, it's a give. No, they're not. Yeah, you know. So that's a bad example. Like that's what you don't want to do. I would say that would be a bad thing to do. Yeah.
And I mean, like, there's so much, like, I think today more than ever, there's a lot of focus on the person. Yeah. You, Loren, are the brand.
Yes.
Versus the product.
Yeah.
And so the more that you can show people, I mean, that's a lot of the reason why I made this. It's like, I want faces to be in front of this camera.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot, the past decade, putting faces in front of cameras, but it's always been in the product or some sort of like tied to some commercial or campaign type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Which pays the bills for me.
Yeah.
But, and you could even say I was doing value added, because I'm already taking a commodity, which is this.
Well, you editing a raw video, you're adding value, right? You know?
Exactly. So I'm doing that, great. But then now more so than ever, I notice what I consume. Mm-hmm. What I consume the most, that I feel the most fulfilled after consuming, is content that's kind of like this, where you feel like you know somebody now.
Yeah.
Or you knew like I knew ulu chips.
Yeah.
But now I heard Loren talk about it.
Yeah.
That is what I consume. And so that's why I want to create that. This is just one avenue. Mm-hmm. Same thing for me. Like, people have seen things that I've done or heard things, this and that, but have you ever had the conversation about the process going into that?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of mess ups and mistakes that I make that I feel other people could learn from, so they don't make those. Mm-hmm. And I think the personal brand today is more important than ever.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's a brand new thing that just come online, and I think that's like maybe since 2019, maybe 2018 has come online, but especially 2020 when, you know, everyone hit online.
Yeah.
That's you're just, it's your brand. It's like they're trying to get behind you. So everything's a story, right? You're always just trying to sell a story. Mm-hmm. But now the story is really focused on like, you know, like who is the owner? Like, what do they believe in? What do they do? You know, so you're absolutely right. But everything's a story.
The story that people tell themselves about themselves is one thing that I really want to lean into by not exposing, but sharing the stories I had about myself and how it turned into what I'm doing now. The story, the sort of autonomy that one has in creating their story, being authentic is being an author. Yeah. Same root, like you can author your own story. Yeah. Tell yourself that, and you know, it comes in many different shapes and forms, different people, like David Goggins, for example. Like, he's sort of the bootstrap, do it, motherfucking weak ass, like, don't listen to the inner bitch. That works for a lot of people too, when they tell themselves that and they're like, oh, I was being that. I heard the inner bitch. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna prove them wrong. Yeah. Whatever, like, story, narrative that gets someone to I guess like get closer to what they feel is fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I'm sort of scratching the surface, I'm like, yo, that needs to be magnified and shared everywhere.
Yeah.
It just so happens that you're doing business.
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens that you know, you the Ulu slanging master out here in these streets. And like, I think give people a little bit more like about the background. That's like, I don't know, it's unmeasurable. So it's kind of woo woo.
Yeah.
But I for me personally, the impact that it's had on me consuming this kind of stuff has been just amazing. It's kind of like rocket fueled the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, and not necessarily like in the dressing is my cousin Susie, shout out to Susie. She has taken over and she is the person that needs to, she's the person that can like, she's the rocket fuel for that.
Yeah.
And so that's really allowed me to get into this space even heavier and deeper. So I mean, that's why in the invitation, which by the way, like I made a bunch of invitations, right?
Yeah,
just like that when I sent you. And in general, people are like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait, what is this, dude?
Yeah,
I was like, "It's literally right here."
Yeah.
Well, what did you think when you saw
Oh,
it?
dude, it blew me away. No, like I said, it's the best invitation I've ever seen in my life to anything, a wedding or what, just to come over to someone's house, like whatever. It's the best invitation I think I've ever had for anything, period. And like, to me, that whatever, you know, it was like a 3-minute edit. That would have taken me like 5 years to like edit that thing. You just probably whipped it out in like a couple minutes, you know, like that's why you're really good at it. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm sitting here, man. That's why I'm right here. I would have come sooner, but my dad was visiting. I'm like, man, what kind of, I want to get over there, man. Let's go. Yeah.
Dad, don't you got something to do?
Yeah. I'm like, Dad, go to the beach or something. Yeah, I got to go do stuff.
I think the realization was, man, I think it was kind of like kickstarted by our experience with Mana Up.
Mm-hmm.
If 10 people, right? That's what the cohort was. If 10 of us, like, I felt that much like power for 10 people.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got like 10 people in my recent calls today, right? Like, imagine how much of that kind of power could be tapped into just if I created this kind of place and like I want to have my mom over.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of conversations I had with her, I'm like, what? You know how parents feel like telling you stuff as you get older?
Yeah.
They didn't think you could handle earlier. Like, wait, what?
You were doing what? When were you doing that?
Wait, how come you never told me that?
Yeah.
Dad, my brother, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with your like upbringing? Like Kona?
Yeah, Kona, yeah.
What's up at Big Island?
Oh, dude, I would, if there is, I always say this, but if there was like a pill to like do it over again, I would have done it over again in a heartbeat. You just have the pill sitting there, like, I would live my childhood life over again for sure. Like, I loved it. So yeah, born and raised Kona. My mom is also from Kona. So again, I have I'm my only child. So I was really close with my cousins, and they're around my age, and and they're all in town, Kona. So I'd go to their houses, and you know, a lot of them have pretty cool properties. Go run around and just, you know, open spaces, do our thing, climb a tree, like all that. Really, just
Kids
the boy, you know, like kid boy lifestyle. Definitely did that. And then where I lived was like on the cul-de-sac. And then there's a lot of other kids, like, you know, a couple years older than me, but we're all generally the same age. So we just skateboard all day, just, you know, do all the things, throw stuff at each other, just we'll play video games, you know, like N64, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Sega, all that. Like, I had all of them. And then I remember like the highlight of the year was like, Mom, and like go run up to her like, Mom, check this out. And I had like 5 systems, like all cabled and hooked up to like one television. I'm like, Mom, we could play anything we want at any time. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And like, oh, that was like the highlight, because we had like a little clubhouse, and yeah, man, it was great. And then
were those the guys? I met some of them at your homie's wedding.
Those
different
were
circle.
they there? Those were slightly older, so that was like in high school. But the ones I'm talking were like pre-high school, you know, like 12-year-old, 8-year-old, 7-year-old. Yeah, so a little bit younger, but yeah, that's pretty funny when you saw us there too. But yeah, no, I had a great upbringing. My family was into sports fishing, so my grandpa helped to start the Honokaha Harbor and the whole sports fishing. So when you see like the billfish tournaments in Kona, like my grandpa was like the guy that like helped to start all of that, like fishing in Kona. So he was the first one to catch like 1,000-pound blue marlin over in Kona, and like put Kona on the map as like a sports fishing like capital of the world. And then, so my uncles, you're never gonna believe this. One of them's named Marlin after the marlin that he caught. So Uncle Marlin and Randy, they both run boats there, world class captains, and they also do go across the world like Cabo and do big fishing tournaments and stuff like that. So I definitely come from a fishing family, but that being said, no one in my age is taking over any of that. So it might end quickly, but once the uncles stop doing it. But yeah, just I loved it. I was a baseball player growing up, so I spent most of my life like playing baseball, and little league and pony and like all high school and all that. Yeah, so I did a little bit of sports, but I always had like a natural like entrepreneurial background. So I was always like trying to hustle Pokemon cards. Like, hey man, what I got 2 shinies, bro, and you give me those, and like
it starts early.
Yeah. So I was always trying to hustle like Pokemon cards and just pretty much anything, like buy and sell like skateboard ramps and skateboards, and like I was in high school. I was into like subwoofers, like in your car. I was super.
I had 2 12s in my trunk.
Yeah. So I think we talked about this. And then so I was super into that. So like buy and sell boxes, build boxes, like subwoofer boxes. So I was always like, trying to like, buy and sell stuff. And it was just like pretty natural for me to like do that. And like, I even look like, I'll pull out some like, not kindergarten, but like, middle school, like document or something and be like, I want to own an ice cream store, So it was always like owning some kind of like store. And I've just always wanted to.
Where would you say that came from though?
Well, both my parents are very like, well, my dad, he is very, he's the ideas guy. He's the inventor. He's the ideas guy. All we do is just talk about, oh man, this idea, and we could do this, and we could sell it there, and we could sell it for this much and get it made over here. So all we do is talk about like inventions and ideas. And then my mom is just like a really hard worker. So when I grew up, she was a caterer. So like we'd cater out of my house. So like all the tents and tables and all that stuff, and was at my house. So like, my mom would hire workers, they'd come, we'd load up the vans, and we'd be gone from 6 in the morning to like 6 in the morning to like 1 or 2 in the morning, like set up the party, do the party, break it down, the whole thing, wash everything. So I was like the kid like in the back for like years, just like, oh, there's Loren running around, like
you were just growing up in it.
I was just growing up in it. So my mom was, and I remember like one of the biggest things I remember was like, everyone's like, oh man, Loren, your mom is so stressed out. Your mom is so stressed out, man. And I always remember that because she was just like working so hard. And, these are like really, 400 people parties. These are like real parties.
Hey, shout out to all the moms working real hard out there.
Yeah.
You know what? I got someone coming on and she's like, I don't know what I have to talk about. You're talking to business owners and da-da-da. She's like, I'm a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's is what
hard.
we're talking about. Because I know I grew up in a single family household.
Okay.
So my mom and then me and my brother. So mom and brother is different than like mom and girls. I've come to
sure,
like,
okay,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like me, I have 2 daughters. Like that's different than dad and daughters, different mom and daughters. And so I get it. Especially now as a parent. Now when I talk to my parent as a parent myself. Then we get those conversations that are like, ooh.
Yeah. So I definitely got it from like both my parents. Like a good, like I got the ideas part from my dad and then a hard work from my mom, and that kind of put me together, and now I have a little bit of both, I feel. So I'm very thankful for all of that. So
hey, shout out to your mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's the perfect storm.
Yeah.
The visionary, the integrator.
Yeah, no, they
boom.
Yeah.
And then Loren.
Yeah. Loren, thank you, Loren. Yeah.
So, and just one so that everything can be poured into this one child.
This one better be good. Like we only got one shot. Yeah. So I think they're happy with the way things came out. So
are they still involved in like your dad's like, hey, guess what? I found this new supplier.
Yeah. No, me and my dad talk all the time, and it never stops. Like we just ideas end over end. Like now and I always like hit him up like, hey dad, like what do you think about this idea? Should we do this or that? Or do you like this color? Like how's this bag? Like so I always just bounce. I mean, this is leading into something else, but the way I figure things out, and I guess this is kind of shifting into like entrepreneurship, but it's like a lot of people are like, I don't know anything about cooking, so therefore I'm not going to make a food product. And the way I learn and figure things out, because I didn't do college, I'm not a chef by any trait.
Right.
I don't even really like cooking.
Yeah.
I don't cook. I mean, I can do it, but like it's not like I go home every night like, hey man, I'm gonna make beef stew tonight. Like that's never happened.
Yeah.
So anyways, like the way I figure things out is I just ask questions. So I go like, hey Kenji, man, you know, like, oh, like, man, I love your dressing, dude. And like, oh, thanks, yeah, like. How do you make, or like, where do you even get those bottles? And then, you know, a conversation, you know, maybe how bottles leads to ingredients leads to who makes it, and, you know, leads out, hey, where'd you get those labels? You know, and like, I love the color. Did you get a graphic designer? And, you know, so out of like one person, you know, you can really learn a lot. And then that's how I've learned basically everything, because, you know, I didn't go to school, you know, I do try to, you know, read, and I do like information a lot. So it's like, you know, I'll try to go out and like learn information about whatever I'm trying to do, you know, so I'll try to learn myself. But when it comes down to it, is I purely just ask other people like how they did it, and I'll just kind of go off of there. And then now this new age, we're very, very lucky to have like YouTube. And so of course you're all up on YouTube watching things here and there. So that's new for us. You know, our generations below us obviously didn't have that. So we're really lucky for that. But I mean, again, that's just first step of being an entrepreneur. A lot of people like, man, I have this great idea, you know, but I don't know how to do it. And then that's it. And then they just stop, and then it's over, and then cut. But that's where it just starts.
See, look, I've noticed now looking at the monitor, this light, to your point.
Yeah.
Building this whole video podcast studio has just been asking people, trying it, asking people, trying it. I got to find a better mount for this light. Obviously, it wasn't here when we started. Oh. Also, the light, as far as like the battery life on these guys, they're going to die soon. But I'll turn it off. But I say that because that's the whole thing behind the 100 bad videos. Look, it's light. Look at this angle right here. That's been behind my head this whole time. But I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. One, because that's the bad part of the 100 bad videos ideas is make that bad shit.
Yeah.
Make mistakes. Do it. Get laughed at.
Funny.
And here's the thing. No one cares.
Yeah.
Fucking no one cares. The people who care probably shouldn't be in your circles.
There'll be one dude on YouTube that will point it out, though.
Yeah. And that dude that's his 500th comment today.
Yeah.
He ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's his job. That's what he's doing. Yeah.
The guy doing shit
Yeah.
is not commenting.
No, I do not go comment on YouTube videos like that. You know, I watch them, I get in, get out, and I go do something. But I ain't worried about, you know, lights. So leave that to the YouTube guy.
No, well, YouTube, props to YouTube, because I do learn a lot.
Yeah.
And when, like you said, like I ask people, when we were growing up, like you literally had to be in the flesh, or you could find a one-way conversation with someone who wrote a book. But that feedback part, today is so easy and accessible. So you can literally ask anyone in the world anything, anytime. I mean, there are gatekeepers. Like I'm not gonna just say, "Hey, Elon," you know what I'm saying? But it's possible. Right? One, if he's like expecting my call, I could ask him a question. Your parents, your dad, like you can ask him anytime and tap in, right? So I think one, there's gonna be this connectivity that just gets to a point where I don't think there's gonna be screens. I don't know if Neuralink is where I'm going with this, where I'm having a conversation with my mom right now type of thing.
Mom, what's up?
But
hey, what's going on?
As far as accessing information that you need, like I'm super selfish when I'm on YouTube. Where's the answer? Who's giving it to me the best? Sub. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like I'm that guy. Are you giving me what I came here for? Yes, no. Easy. So there's an abundance of that. So if I wanted to learn how to do start a chip company. And I found this video online somewhere. I have that's the beginning of the rabbit hole. Because then I'm like, who's Loren? What's Ulu chips? Let me see how he prices it. Where is it available? Down the street from me. I'm going to go down there. Hey, wait, I do want to feature it real quick. But before I do.
Have you checked out?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
I didn't know about this.
What's up?
I may have started a YouTube channel too.
Wait, started or it's been?
No, in 2020 it's called Shoopy Snacks.
Oh, no, I know that. I know Shoopy Snacks. I remember when I was doing that video in the kitchen. I found that. I was like, oh, he already got a freaking channel.
That's funny.
And that's like what? Just more
Yeah,
I'm tasting stuff.
yeah, I just haven't done anything on it since like 2020, but just like a one-time thing. Yeah, so again, Ulumana, that's my brand. So I have a company called Ulumana, and then that business creates delicious snacks made out of breadfruit. So we create an ulu chips and also Hawaiian hummus. And then I have another sub company called Hawaiian Farmers Market. And what that company does, it's buys and sells locally made value added farm products. So we sell those at farmers markets. We have an e-commerce site called hawaiianfarmersmarket.com. We ship it all across the state and the US. And then we also do, so we kind of sell the stores a little bit, but that's not our main deal. It's more retail. So I'm selling again to like special events and farmers markets. And when I go there, I go with like maybe 10 different brands, 15 different brands, and I'll sell like 70 different products. So like Vaimeli Honey Company, I'll sell like 4 different honeys. I'll sell Manoa chocolate, sell like 6 different flavors of chocolate, macadamia nuts, chips, all different kinds of things. So we do special events, made in Hawaii, expo, and then daily farmers markets. So we'll do anywhere from like 4 to 7 farmers markets a week, kind of just depending on what's going on with the world at the time. So I guess real quickly how I got started in all this was, again, from Big Island, moved to San Diego for 3 years. Wasn't really my vibe. Thought it was actually freezing in San Diego. Couldn't handle it. So came back,
Hawaii.
Yeah, came back to Hawaii and was like, I really want to start a business. I don't know what it is, but I don't want it to be in San Diego because that means I have to stay here for like 5 to 10 years. So I'm going to go back to Hawaii. And then I chose to land on Oahu. And I really love it here. It's great. And I started working at the farmer's market selling a jam product. It was called Honomu Jams at the time. And I thought I was going to be the Smuckers of Hawaii and sell this jam left and right everywhere. And sort of kind of did that. So we went from like one farmer's market up to like 12 or 14 per week. So I was doing like 2 or 3 markets per day.
By yourself?
Well, I would do one and send another team off to do another one. So like every day I'd have like 2 vans and like a bunch of product, and we'd send them off to do things. And then over the years, you kind of condense it down. Okay, that one's not really good. This one kind of sucks. Okay, now we just have like a core. And then every year kind of like condenses a little bit with COVID and things that just had happened. Some of them close and whatever. So now we do like 4 or 5 a week. And then we do special events and e-commerce. And that's what I do with other people's products. And I do sell mine there too. And then the other half, again, is Ulumana. And that I wholesale to stores like Foodlands, Down to Earth, Tamura's, mom and pop stores like Hoku's and Papaya Natural Foods over on Kauai, KTA, Island Naturals on the Big Island, places like that. So I manufacture them myself and then I sell them. So this is our ulu chip product here. This is one of our best-selling products. It's our garlic sea salt bag. Again, made with locally grown ulu. So the farmer grows the fruit, and I have connections with them. They pick the fruit in the morning, drive it over to me at my warehouse in Honolulu. We store it there, and then we process the whole thing. So I start with a raw fruit. Ulu's not a commodity, but basically a raw commodity product. And then we end up with a value-added product that you can see right here. So everything is done in-house. From the raw fruit, we wash it, slice it, cook it, fry it, package it, seal it, sell it, the whole thing, all done in-house. So it's one of our best-selling products. And actually, before the chips, I actually made a hummus product. So we have it's called like Bang and Beat, and also like our Totally Turmeric. So these are hummus. They look and taste just like hummus, but they're actually made out of breadfruit. So there's no beans in here. So if you're allergic to garbanzo beans or chickpeas, there's none in here, but it tastes just like hummus. So it's good for people like that subscribe to the paleo diet, Paleolithic diet, mostly like CrossFitters that can't have legumes and things like that. There you go. You can still have your hummus, and it's made out of breadfruit. So this is our first product.
Wait, that came before the chips?
Yes. Yeah. 2 years before the chips. So my first I was making this stuff back in like 2015, 2016.
Oh.
And then I got this nice label and container and all prettied up. That was in 2017. And I started selling that to like stores across Hawaii. So 2017, the chips came 2 years later in 2019. Yeah. So the chips are actually newer than the hummus.
Wait, so when we met, it was like brand new.
Like day one new. No, our what do you call it? Like the new cohort like party, like whatever. It was
like
Kahala Hotel.
Thing. Yeah.
That was the first time I've ever even sold a bag of ulu chips in this packaging, period.
Really?
Yeah, so you were the
I
first
remember
one.
that.
You were the very first one, yeah, to see it. Yeah, so but before that, it was like in this clear bag and like a label that I'd kind of like made and stuck on. So it existed in the world, but it wasn't like pretty, like this. It wasn't a real product.
I remember distinctively talking to you about packaging
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I
yeah,
was going through my own. Like, wait, I
Yeah.
got to do something too.
yeah, yeah.
I didn't know it was that new though.
No, it was brand new. I mean, obviously it's all
Oh.
under works, right, for months, but then I just got it, right, and then I could like finally package it and stuff. So,
Cool.
just gonna talk a little bit about some like entrepreneurial things. But I think when you're starting a business, one of the things you should think about is like, what's the end goal? Like, I'm not saying you need to have an exit plan. A lot of people, oh, what's your exit plan, right? I don't think that's something you need to have like day one, but I think you need to know where, at least generally, where you're going. You don't need to end up there, and you can always change paths, and it's fine, no problem. But is this something you want to build a business because you like it? Maybe you really like Pokemon cards, and you just like, I want a business that I can just buy and sell Pokemon cards. Cool, great, whatever, awesome. But, or you may say something like, I want to pass this down to my children. I want to create a really solid business, and I want them to work in it, and I want to teach them the values, and I want to pass this on to them. So I'm going to make it for that. Great. You may say something like, oh, I want to build this business to make as much money as possible, and I don't care where it takes me, and I'm going to do this and that, whatever. It's up to you. You can do that. Or you could say like, I want to sell out someday. Not sell out, but I want to exit. And I want to, yeah, sell out is not the polite term, but it's like, I would like to sell my business one day for a profit. So I'm going to build it up to maybe this number, and then I'll look for a buyer, and then I'll sell it to a bigger company, and then I'll go on a sailing boat and go sail every day. I don't know, whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you want, but I think everyone should have a general plan, at least starting the business, where you want it to go, because that will help lead you in your timeline. Like, do I need a warehouse for 2 years or 10 or 20 years? Do I need, this kitchen, maybe should I put in $100,000 into this kitchen that I'm going to use for 1 year? Maybe that's a bad idea. But if you're going to use it for 5 years, maybe that's a great idea. So I think generally when you start a business, you should have a general time or a thought process of where you're going to go with it. So that'd be the first one. And again, kind of getting back earlier, what we're saying is if you don't know how to do it, doesn't matter. Go ask people. Like, if you want to do coffee, there's coffee associations. They have meetings. They do newsletters. They do get-togethers. You can learn a lot of things, and there's a lot of coffee companies. You can go learn from them. Maybe you can work for them for a couple months and just see what's going on, or intern or whatever. So like when someone says, I don't know how to do this, like, great. No one knows how to do anything. I didn't know how to walk. Now I can walk. I didn't know how to talk. Now I can talk. Like no one knows how to do anything, but you learn it along the way. And then you can ask other people in the field. There's forums online. There's obviously YouTube. There's so many different things you can do these days that not knowing how to do it should not stop you. If it's some crazy inside, trade secret, that's a different story. But, generally you can learn the basics of how to do something. So that should not be able to stop you. And then it is scary. So when someone, maybe they grew up and their parents like, you go to a 4-year school and then you're going to get a good job and you have kids and bang, 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 and that's it. If you grew up that way, it's going to be very hard for you to break out of the shell and like, no, I'm going to go start my own business. And, I don't care if I'm living in a shoebox for 3 years, but I'm going to make it, like it's really hard to do. I mean, because, you went to school, you spent all that money, you probably have a degree in something good, it's easy to, or semi easy to go get a steady job, and that's it, and.
But, so I just want to bring up the other argument to what you're saying. Not that I subscribe to it, but it is an argument, is when you are faced with the unknown, like you're saying, don't let not knowing how to do something be the reason you don't do something, right?
Yeah.
When you hit that wall of the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's on the other side. Some people would say that, well, for you, it just comes natural. I'm going to climb over this wall. I'm going to dig a fucking hole. I'm going to find someone who has a key to the door. Like, to you, that's natural.
Yeah.
Maybe because of your upbringing, like, your
Yeah,
visionary dad,
your
mom was just a hard worker who's going to do it. So I didn't grow up like that.
Yeah.
I didn't have that kind of attitude imparted upon me when I was young and impressionable. You know what I mean? This happened, that happened. So to that person, what do you say?
Well, I would say that's what you're getting into. So it's like, if you tell me you want to be a D1 athlete for a football scholarship, but you're not the certain size, or you're just not working out or something, I'm like, well, that it comes with the territory, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You know, so it's like you're
because this is all if you're gonna do a business, right?
Yeah, if you're gonna do a business, this is what you're getting into. Like, period. You know, like that's what you're getting. And if you don't want to get into it, then maybe this isn't a good idea.
So to start a business, you will hit these walls that are unknowns.
Yes, yeah.
And that's part of doing business.
That's a part of doing business. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, and there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it unless, you know, you have someone literally holding your hand, walking you down the whole way, or maybe your dad's in the business and you're trying to do a spin-off of the same thing and you're just learning from him or whatever, you know, but that's what you're doing.
And then the other part is when you say, it's kind of echoes what you brought up earlier when we we're talking about pricing.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I start with this end, what the consumer would pay, then work back my pricing.
Yeah.
And you're saying start with the goal, kind of what you want, what your exit is. Mm-hmm. And an exit could be having my children run it. An exit could be selling it to an investor in 3 years, whatever.
Yeah.
You have an exit, start there, work back. So what's Ulumana's exit?
Yeah.
And then that you think of right now in 2023, it could change obviously, but what's your exit? And then 2, how did you get to that being, this is what I see it as?
So my dad has identified this in me. This is I guess a Loren specific thing right here is like, I'm able to like say, I'm here today. I'm right here today.
Okay.
And I want to be, so your question, I want to be nationally known. I want my product to be across the nation, and I want someone to walk up to a shelf and say, yep, Ulu chips, I want to buy those today, and I know what they are, and they taste good, and I want to buy one. Yeah. You know, that's my goal. I don't want them to be in a store in Wisconsin and people are like, what the heck is that thing? You know, like, I want them to know what it is, and I want them to buy it because it's a delicious, good product. You know, I'm not trying to sell anyone on like, man, this is going to save your life. You do this, you're going to lose weight. Or I'm nothing. I don't want anything like that. I want someone to go to the shelf and I want them to see this bag and I want to buy it. Hey, man, that's a good product. It's a hearty product. It's a real product. I just want to eat it because it tastes good. I'm going to go home and I'm going to enjoy it. That's all I want. I'm not trying to sell anyone on anything of like, this is going to save you or save the world or save everything. That should already be, I think, implied. Like, you should already be a good company. Like, you don't need to run around and tell them. Yeah, you should be a good person and a good company. You don't need to imply that. Like, I just want you to buy this because it's a real deal, good product made out of this was a real product. Anyways, so I don't even remember what we're talking about.
Well, you're saying your dad kind of laid that out for you?
So I'm I guess in my mind, I don't see anything in the middle. To me, is just like whatever. You know, it's so I'm able to look past all the BS, you know, like I don't know how I'm going to get from here to there. I have no idea. If you ask me, I don't know. I have no idea. I have guesses and I have a plan, but like, I don't know. But like, I'm able to just look at that and be like, screw it, I'm going anyways.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is at the heart of business.
Yes. Yeah. So,
because you're out there in one way. I explain, or my business partner and we often have similar versions of this conversation. Mm-hmm. And one way that he's put it that I really like is it's a desert. Mm-hmm. And everyone knows there's an oasis, but the ones who get there, right, they've made it through this desert where other people give up. They get scared because it's unknown. You just see, you look around, you don't even see anything that resembles anything like an oasis. Yeah. But you don't know, and that's okay. You're comfortable with it. It doesn't deter you. It might even motivate you, juice you up to keep going. And after you do find that oasis, which can be, in this case, monetary gains, a sustainable business, and maybe I expanded to 5 employees, whatever that oasis is, that person then looks for the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I made it to this one.
Yeah, yeah. What's next?
Yeah.
And
so
I'm totally like that.
Right?
I'm 100% like that. Yeah.
So it's like, you get comfy. That is sort of the exit in this kind of analogy here. Yeah. But then that's never enough. That's why the person who makes that exit is going to take that and then put it in the next thing.
Yeah, no,
go to the next desert.
100% that type of person where like you could give me $100 million. Well, I'll be pretty content with $100 million. But you know what I'm saying? Like you could give me a bunch of money, but like I'll probably won't stop. I'll probably just try to do something else. You know, that's just me, you know? So it's like, you know,
this dude about to make ulu dressing.
Yeah. Watch out. Sorry. Hey, I didn't tell you about that.
Yeah. I'm all for it.
Next on the list.
I think there's enough. I'm more of an abundance kind of guy. Optimistic, glasses half full. Yeah. So I'm not mad if I look to my left and someone else made a video podcast studio and it's got guests on. Like, great. Yeah. Fuck, that just helps me. I always like, it's better to have 2 ice cream stands on the beach, 2 ice cream shops at the same beach than just one. Or one at this end, one at that end.
Yeah.
You got 2, you got 3. Now there's more people out there eating ice cream, more people who love ice cream, more people bringing their friends to this beach. Like, I think now more than ever, there's this vast ocean that is the digital economy. Everybody should be participating because there's enough for everybody to eat. You know what I mean? And that is the part that some people, that's the unknown though. So what excites me could also be the source of fear and uncertainty for others. I get that. You're not that though. Yeah. You over here like blazing trails. So there's a certain amount of like, I would say personality trait that if you have, or if you identify, or if you work on and build, then doing business becomes a little bit easier. Becomes less of a, actually that's what I was thinking when you're saying, when you're introducing your product and how you do business. It was, have you thought of actually being a mentor?
Yeah. So
for people.
No, that's definitely crossed my mind because, yes, it has, but it's like, how do I feel about that? Because one, like everything I know was essentially for free, so it's like almost like, yeah, I could be a mentor, but is that like I'm going to like charge people like, hey, sign up for my thing and I'll teach you all you want for $10 a month, or I don't know, sometime a monetary gain, but like pretty much a majority of the things I know is, I got it for free. So it's like, should I give that for free or should I charge someone for that? Like, I don't know.
I think we can agree there's value in it though.
There's value.
Huge
for
value.
Sure. Yeah. Cause I mean, if you're starting from zero in Hawaii, like I tell you where to get the packaging, where to get this, how much that costs. Like, so, I mean, like this bag, there's so many things that goes into just this bag that, I could help someone, consultants, they're real and they get paid a lot of money, but it's like who do I charge? Do I charge a guy down the street that made, saved up 20 grand working at Safeway and now he wants to do his own thing? Like, am I trying to take his money? Like, I don't know. Like, do I feel good about that? I don't know. So.
And I'm sure if you really like started entertaining that thought, thinking it through, like you would just end up asking people who do it. Figuring it out.
That's exactly right.
And, like that guy who saved up $20,000 over 5 years working at Safeway. Yeah. And you're thinking, damn, I was going to start my package at $20K.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right. It's like, I mean,
But, there's creative ways around that exchange because without doubt, there's something that you have to give that person who wants to start a business. That is worth something to that person. The price, the method of how they sort of that exchange happens that's the creative part. It can happen many ways. It can happen with a stake, and you can. I'll take X amount until I recoup my costs. It's basically a mini Shark Tank.
Yeah. Because, I mean, because it would save them money. If I
and time and
And
tears.
that's
lots of tears. Lots of nights at home in
a
the corner, like, babe, don't worry, it's gonna be all right. Like you're saving them from that because you went through it. That can be converted into some kind of gain monetarily, but also gains in terms of like getting other businesses, like the kickstart, the head start, whatever you call it, the way your parents kind of imparted on you that mindset. I'm not saying you got to be a dad to all these people, but you get it, right? So I mean, in this conversation, it's become real clear. Like, dude, you should be fucking.
At least in Hawaii, because in Hawaii you have to deal with so many little things that you don't necessarily deal with on the mainland. Like, and I've gone through a lot because I've done everything. I mean, dude, I've sold so many things. Dude, I had a fish truck. I don't even know if you knew I had a fish truck before. Like, it was called Nimitz Fish Market. I literally bought a like old like 1970s like Snap-on tool truck. Like, it was like full of all the tool chest and everything. I ripped all that out, built it into a food truck, got it permitted to like cut and sell fish by the Department of Health, and then we posted up like this was like in summer of 2015. And anyways, I was selling like whole ahis and whole onos and mahi, and then I would charge people to like cut them up. So you'd come to me, like, hey Loren, like I want like a 30-pound ahi, like smaller. We did smaller fish. So like, okay, 30-pound ahi. Let me see. Okay, boom. You like this one? Nah. I want maybe 40-pound. Okay, stick my hand in the water. Find. Oh, how you like this one? Like, I like that one. And then I would. Would you like me to fillet it for you? And you go, yeah, sure, fillet it up. And then I would charge you like $30. And I would cut all the slabs off, like cut the head off, tail, like whatever you wanted it to do, or not anything, but I would break it down for you, the belly off,
like the comma, right?
Yeah. So yeah, then I would sell that. So I've done that. I've sold shrimp. I would go to the farmer's market, and I've done like we would do like shrimp plates, and we'd also barbecue shrimp, like ama ebi, these deep sea Hawaiian shrimp. Yeah, like man, a lot of different things,
So-
like sold taro, poi.
And that is like, I know you are engaged, and obviously the conversation goes, oh, growing family. And so like, that's got to be a part of your, like, you know, that passing on of everything that you've built.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That becomes real apparent when you just think of future, even if it's your kids or if it's someone else's kid. You think of kids in general,
Yeah.
which Hawaii, as we know, very keiki centric, right?
Oh yeah.
Very one of the best. That's why I convinced, or I don't know if I convinced you, babe, but
Yeah,
like
this is on tape, so
that's why
yeah.
I made the case.
yeah.
Let's raise our children in Hawaii.
Yeah, good choice.
Because of that, the community and the attention, the love that they get. And so I think here that stewardship feeling,
Mm-hmm.
even if as in adults, even if the adult's not a parent, that kind of stewardship of leave the next better than I found it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you weave into that business, and you know, like taking your experience in a way that the next generation can benefit from, dude, you're a fucking wealth of knowledge there.
Yeah.
And just cutting up slabs, shrimp, whatever.
Yeah.
It's ulu, whatever.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
5 years, maybe it's something.
Who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows?
He's like, hey,
Yeah.
man, I'm the top deer hunter.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Venison got
all
on tap.
right,
Yeah.
deer jerky. Let's
Hey,
go.
I sell I
See?
sell deer jerky today.
See,
I
You beat me
sell
to
it today.
If you can package it and eat it, this man's touched it.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the first statement.
I got dog treats.
See,
I got cookies.
not even just human food.
Yeah. We going pets.
Wait, what? You got CBD?
No.
Oh,
I'm not,
yeah.
nothing bad about CBD. No, and there's definitely some people, if she's watching this right now, like she knows I'm resisting pretty well, but I don't know what it is, but yeah, I just don't, that's not me.
That's another.
That's not me.
Okay.
That's the next guy has the full reign on that one, but yeah, not me.
One thing like that, because I was thinking, ooh, I know permitting and stuff in Hawaii just takes so long. And 3-4 years ago, whenever, keep in mind, I spent 5 years in Oregon.
Yeah.
Okay. I spent 5 years in Oregon.
Yeah, I
at
can
the
do that now.
forefront of
I thought San Diego was cold.
when things were getting when medical marijuana was coming out. And so I spent time in a clinic and just learning from all these old local Oregonians looking like Santa Claus on a day off type, you know what I mean? And I was like, dude, this thing goes deep. This
Yeah.
culture is deep. And like the people who are good at it, good at this horticulture.
Mm-hmm.
And so not just the recreational side, which we're all familiar with,
Yeah.
but like that part. And then recently I got a feeling of that, like being in that clinic at the medical marijuana clinic in Portland, Oregon back in 2000, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I had that same feeling when, wait, there's people making like CBD tinctures, oils, and putting in foods.
Yeah.
I felt like, oh, this is kind of another, I don't want to say renaissance, but like another avenue to actually benefit off something that has a lot of potential to help people, not just recreationally. And so I thought like, oh man, CBD dressing, like food, because naturally I'm thinking,
food, right? Yeah.
wait, we use oil. Boom, perfect. I can
Yeah.
carry it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I started thinking, but then I was like, I don't want to go through all those unknowns. And
I mean,
that's
like,
a huge.
it's nothing bad about it, but I'm just saying, like, you're walking into usually people with a lot of money. Like, there's a lot of guys that have a lot of money in the, that kind of world. You're also dealing with the laws, like we talked about, like insurance. Like, I have a friend, and she was dealing with insurance for a CBD company, and it was like 4 times mine, and her sales were, less at the time. So you're just paying much higher insurance because it's unknown, right? Insurance companies like, we're not too sure about this. We might get sued. We might not. I don't know. We're going to charge you a lot of money because we're not too sure about this. So there is a lot of things that go into it, but that means that keeps people out too. So maybe that opens a door. But yeah, not my thing personally. But I mean, yeah, if you think it's a good idea and you see something, like, man, go for it, dude.
I'm like, I'll wait. I'll be a consumer.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
buy the first product that you make. Like, I'll test it. But like, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna manufacture
It's
it.
hard,
I'm not gonna go into that
Yeah.
toe to toe with these giants, like you said. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I got the legal money. I got
Yeah.
the resources. Like,
Yeah.
that's the people doing that are like made 3 exits already. I feel like.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean, I forgot what the permit cost was,
Dude.
like to have a dispensary here, but it was like over $1 million just for the permit. And it has nothing to do with selling anything or buying anything. It was just like 1 million or 3 million or some crazy number just
And
to
there's a
own
limit
the permit.
to the amount of permits.
Yeah, it was like 3 on Oahu or
was
something.
like-
I don't know. It was really small.
I know there's 3 people with way more money than me out here.
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
interested. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so it's a lot of gamble, but you know, it could have a lot of success. So I don't know.
to your earlier point, you choose what desert to walk through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like-
yeah. I stick to like a general path. It's been with food and agriculture products, but I haven't really strayed. I did a couple little things on the side, but I mostly stayed true to like agriculture and fish products. Yeah.
Wait, so this guy, so your family is like Marlon Hammers in Kona.
Yeah.
You have an uncle named Marlon.
Yeah.
Shout out Marlon.
Yeah. Shout out Marlon.
And you also used to cut up slabs of Marlin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is Oahu as the Hilo? Or sorry.
Yeah.
Big Island or Hawaii Island. Wait, where do you stand on that?
Just
you call it Big Island?
Just big. I mean, born and raised, growing up, no one said Hawaii. I mean, yes, Hawaii Island, but like everyone just says Big Island. Like everybody all day long. Like,
so when someone's like, because I say this because I've been in conversation where someone's like, it's Hawaii Island.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
we're pretty cruise on that.
Okay.
One of the funniest things was I remember, I don't know how old I was, like young teens or 12 or 13, something like that. But like, I remember a tourist, like, you know, just driving by and they stop like, hey, kids, like, do you know where Highway 19 is? I'm like, what? Like, that's, and I distinctly remember, I'm like, that's on the mainland. Like, we don't have numbers in Hawaii. Like, what are you talking about? And then they're like, yeah, it says right here, like Highway 19 right there. I'm like, Upper Road? And they're like, I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know these had numbers, dude. I thought that's Upper Road and then there's Lower Road. What do you want to go up or down? Like, and like it just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, there's numbers on these roads. I had no idea.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Because we use landmarks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though there's 18 7-Elevens on this side of the island. Oh, right, about a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Like we use.
Yeah.
Landmarks. Also Malcolm Mackay. Even when you were coming here.
Oh yeah.
Like what side?
Yeah.
And that's also why I like being raised here. Like that connection.
Yeah.
To the sky, to the land, to the water.
Yeah.
Finds its way even to just street directions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I love that part.
Yeah.
Of living here, and then having numbers. Yeah, I didn't. But when you look at a map, even in Google Maps now, it's like take whatever Highway 19.
Yeah.
5 minutes, and you're like, oh, there is a number.
Yeah.
Upper Road.
I was like, oh, I didn't know.
76 South Eva Beach. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Fort Weaver, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's probably one for this. I just call it Farrington Highway.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know.
Where was I? I was gonna ask you something about the Marlin thing.
Oh yeah,
the Uncle Marlin.
Yeah, fish, cutting up slabs, fish, ahi.
Oahu.
Yeah.
Oahu versus Big Island.
For
you, your experience, because you've been here 11 years.
Just where I want to live, or just.
I mean,
which
for
one's
you?
better?
What for you? Like, you grew up there, but now you live here. I think about living on other islands, but I'm biased. I was born and raised literally right here, West Oahu.
Yeah.
But I left after high school and then spent 13 years off this island, basically.
Yeah.
But I've kind of moved back home. I reconnected by moving back home.
Yeah.
So I get and since then, moving back home, I visited the island so many times for work.
Sure, yeah.
And so I'm always thinking like, I have basically a wider view of what Hawaii is.
Mm-hmm.
Before I left, I was born and raised on this island.
Yeah.
And I knew parts of this island by what soccer parks I would have games at. That's how I traveled this island.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Waipio,
where's the park? Over there.
Waikai,
Oh, that's 50
Kaiser,
minutes in the car. Like,
Yeah.
high schools.
Yeah.
Wait, we're playing in Kahuku. Like, we're playing Waianae. Like, those are long bus rides, right? That's how I knew this island. But then now, having years and decades and then experience, Hawaii is actually more than just Oahu, obviously.
Yeah.
And I think about living, like a couple weeks ago, I was on Kauai.
Yeah.
I was like, there's different sides to Hawaii. And for something like for you, having called this part over here in Kona home, now you're calling this part over here home.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel There's no real question here.
Yeah. It's just, okay, so big on farmer agricultural, like my whole family's there. I know everything there. I know a lot of people there. You go anywhere, I see them, I know them. It's it's just, obviously different. So, I've been on this island like 11 years now, almost 12 years. So I know a lot of people here too, so it's almost not the same over here, but it's darn close. Like where I'm going to a lot of places, like, oh, I know this guy, I know that guy sees me. But it's just really what you want, right? So over here, I love it because it's a lot more business centric. Like everything is, I love business. I love commerce. I just love buying and selling and talking about it and moving things. And you want to order, I'll fulfill the order. I just love doing that. And I feel like on the Big Island, that would be much harder for me to do. And that, if I want to go Big Island, it's more like, it would be more to like chill or like to raise a family. Like it's maybe an option to like, I don't have kids yet. But maybe the next few years, like potentially, but Oahu just really has everything I personally want as far as like business goes. Like I can get my hands on everything right here on the island. It's pretty central. The traffic, if you know how to wiggle through it, you can get through it. So I like Oahu right now for this point in my life, but down the road, I mean, the house I grew up in, we still own. So I can always just go back there or something like that. And it's a great house. And, or, property's cheaper over there. You can always build. Like, I think if you're going to go Big Island, you got to buy property and build a house. Like, that's just the way to do it. And a lot of my friends are doing that. But yeah, I mean, both great places, but they're both two very different places. But I feel like if I was on Big Island, I'd probably want to take a lot of trips. So it's like, okay, my house is on Big Island. My home is here. Like, I'm part of this community, but maybe we take like 3 trips a year and we're just gone for 3 months out of the year or something like that. So I feel like you gotta do that. So I do have like cousins that do something similar. Where they're there 6 months on, not 6 months on, 6 off, but it's 6 months out of the year they're not on island and 6 months they are on island, and they have a home there, and it's a beautiful home and it's a beautiful area, and they get to enjoy Big Island and how, serene it is and laid back and beautiful. But then they also got to go see stuff.
Right.
So I think that's the way, if you're going to go do Big Island, that would be my way of doing that.
Is it like a place for retirees?
I don't want to say that because like if you had a boat and we want to go fishing, that is fun. I mean, you can do it when you're retired, but you can do it today, Like,
well, I was thinking, so what are the successful businesses? Like, what kind of business would you have? Or you're like, I need to go to Kona.
Well, a lot of it, it's agriculture, like water companies, like Waiakea Water or like Kona Deep Water, like water companies selling water. There's salts over in Kona too, like sea salt and stuff like that. There's a vanilla company. There's honey. Our boy Kavika selling honey. Kavika. Yeah, talked to him on the phone on the way here.
And Mamaki too, right?
Yeah, Mamaki. Hey, that Shaka Tea.
Yeah.
So they just sold to King's Hawaiian.
Yeah.
And they did it. I don't know what the number is. I have no anything about the facts or whatever, but they're a Hawaii-based business.
Yeah. Shout out to Bella and Harrison.
They're killing it. So yeah.
I think because that's one when they moved there, and I through video I had been connected with them, and so this is actually before going to Mana Up.
Nice.
But that was like a peak. Kind of now looking back, it was like the setup.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait, what do you guys do? At what scale?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Damn. And these are your plans, and then being able to like be on the sidelines and see like through press basically, especially with that one, the announcement, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, they exited, and it's kind of like that was part of, like, to your point, plan here and build, right? For that. And I think just being on the sidelines and watching, it's not like I'm like, hey, what's up, guys, like every day, but that real close interaction with them before all of this unfolded, that made it feel more tangible for me.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like, oh, what? And to this question, like, why would you move from Oahu to the Big Island?
Agriculture.
Agriculture.
Yeah.
So if you're a business doing agriculture, you can flourish. If you're a business and you do charters, right?
Like, charters.
Okay,
charters,
boom.
Tours, really big over there. My buddy, the buddy that you were shooting the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
The tall guy, Jay. He does tours over there, and that's his company over there. But he lives over here, but he operates it over there, So it's pretty cool.
So you're kind of sharing time.
Yeah,
and it's not like it's a. How long is that flight? Like 40, I don't know, 50 minutes?
There's 36 minutes in the air. Yeah. I mean, people do it every day,
It's a daily, it's a commute.
Yeah, it's a commute. Yeah, I'm sure people wake up on Big Island, get on the plane, come Oahu, do construction or whatever the job is, fly back 5 days a week.
That first flight, inter-island flight.
Oh, yeah.
All the high-vis shirts and boots.
Yeah, it's all them. That's all them.
Just Maui's trip is like up, down.
Yeah.
Up, down.
Yeah.
Like,
but with Bella guys, Shaka Tea, one of their first deliveries to Hawaii of their product went to my warehouse.
Word?
They're like one of my first clients.
Oh,
and then they
shout
made
out.
it huge. Yeah, they made it huge. Who would have known?
Shout out to them, man.
Yeah, yeah. And then don't quote me on this, but I believe one of the things she's focusing on now is like tea, for example, like low weight, low volume, high price out of Hawaii.
Like
so that's
dry
what
tea?
she's focused on.
Oh.
Just how do you bring more money to Hawaii
Yeah.
by exporting things that are like low weight, low volume. Yeah. So that's, like a thing like that. Like who knows what it'll be. Obviously tea was one of them.
See, she's looking for that next oasis.
Yeah,
She's out there.
Already on it.
You don't stop.
Can't stop.
You can't, man.
Yeah. But I mean, that's, dry jerky, for example, is very expensive and very light, very small volume. So like, that's just, another thing, a road you could go down trying to figure out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know the hope at one of the last like workshops we had was the FedEx lady who came in.
Yeah.
Basically explaining planes come full and leave empty.
Yeah.
Capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, one idea that we had tossed around was like, what if you made just to add water? So basically take your dressing, make it dry into a powder form.
Yep.
Like those liquid IV type things.
Yeah. I need dressing in my arm. Stat.
Yo, I need that Swiss. Hit.
Yeah. I mean, that Swiss in now.
Boom.
Yeah.
Just go to a restaurant. Can I have some water, please? Add water. Like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
But then again, I was like, I'm struggling in this desert already trying to figure out how to like make this work. But I see how the way things are moving now, you can sell to anybody anytime. And the IP behind your product is actually way more valuable. And then the strategy you implement is actually the distribution. Like basically it's not just a product. I think people start with the product. I have a great product or even idea, and then you make a product.
Yeah.
But then if that's not surrounded by great distribution, great teamwork, great planning, great finances, like you're kind of limited by that.
Yeah. Old saying is like sales cures all your problems. So, I mean, if the product is selling, you have at least time to figure out the problems, right? So, you do have to start with a good product. But yeah, if you're selling, money starts to cure problems. It can also create for some companies that just go way too big, way too fast. But, for people like more our size, yeah, it's like if you're selling, there's money to like hire people, figure it out. Like you're running around, hey man, you can figure it out. So a lot of companies these days, that's how they operate. If you look at these really, really like Uber, okay.
You're right.
Have they made money yet? I don't even know. Have they made $1? But they're worth what, like 30 billion or something like? Okay, so right, so they have an idea, they have their product, but they haven't figured out how to be profitable yet. But they're banking someday that'll happen. So you could run it. That's what a lot of companies are like. Hey, screw all this other stuff. Just go out and make money, make a ton of money,
make the best product,
and we'll figure out all this crap at the back end. And honestly, that's kind of how I am too. Because I'm like, people like Ulu Chips. I think they do anyways. I don't know. When I first started, I was like, I think people will like this. And I just went and just did it. But it's not like I had all this stuff like lined up in the background. I was just like, yeah, people will like this.
There's a certain amount of blind faith.
Yeah. You got
right?
it. Yeah.
That the entrepreneur needs.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. I don't even care what these numbers in front of me say.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what you hear people talk about when they're on stage at TED or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I think that really helps people who are in that moment to keep going. That kind of like, I'm not alone type of feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is. I mean, I was stoked to like, man, Loren's coming. There's a certain amount of like feeling I have when I think about the dressing, where it kind of opened this little like slit in the door for me to look into this room where I see people like yourself, people like Frito-Lay's, people like Costco. Just like I said, I respect it. It's a huge machine at work. Yeah. So many parts just at work. Like, damn, this is intricate. This is amazing. This is billions of dollars moving around this room. I can participate and learn. And that still intrigues me. Like, I want to learn, period. And I like to absorb and surround myself with people who are learning better than me or who have done things better than I have. And so I always think about that every time. Dude, when I go into a store and I see this, you know what I think? I feel like I saw Loren.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I feel.
He was here.
Especially with like, all the cohorts.
Yeah.
When I see Maui Chris, you know what I'm saying? When I associate it with the people that I know connected to that, and it almost feels like I'm cruising with them. I can kind of see their moves, and that's like looking in that realm, which is CPG, which is Hawaii, small business owners, and that's the term I think is unfair. I don't know, small business owners. You ever feel like some type of way when you hear that term?
Okay, so so this is my thought on maybe not that exactly, but okay. So I think there's two things I think people getting confused, and I don't know. Maybe this is my opinion. I don't know if these are the dictionary facts, but this is my opinion.
It's your facts.
There's business owners and business people, and then there's entrepreneurs. And I would say I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm not necessarily like a good business owner or a businessman. And I think they're two different things, and you can be both or whatever, but I think there's two different things. So entrepreneurship, I believe, involves creativity. So for example, if I were to go and my dad gave me $100,000 or whatever, my uncle passed away and he's, hey Loren, here's $1 million, just whatever, or left me in a will or something, and I go buy a gas station, you're not an entrepreneur. And no matter how many photos you take and, you can post on your Instagram, oh, entrepreneur, yeah. Like, nah, you're a business owner, you're a businessman, you're doing business, but there's really nothing creative about that, right? People come, they buy gas, they buy snacks, like it's all been done before for years. If you did some crazy spin on it, all right, yeah, maybe. But I feel like there's entrepreneurs in this world, like creating things out of nothing. Like, like this product has never been made before, like this, like that's an entrepreneurial thing. Like this is something that, maybe way back in the day, there's guys selling like Ziploc bags or like, and they do in other countries, Ziploc bags, ulu chips, but there's never been one that's been presented like this, right? So like this is a creative product. So I feel that there's business owners that like, I'm going to open a hair salon. Like, great. Like, I don't, maybe again, if you had another spin or you open a bunch and this like a new way or something, maybe entrepreneurial, but you're a business owner, businessman, businesswoman, but not necessarily an entrepreneur. So like when I say like a small business owner, like I'm an entrepreneur, like that's what I do. That's what I am. Like so when you say reaching that oasis, right? Like a businessman or owner, I feel would want to run that business and make, I don't know, whatever, $1 million a year. Like, man, I'm just making $1 million a year. I'm running this business that is at this point. I would be so over that, like I don't want to run a business. I want to create things. Like I want to create a fish cutting and selling food truck. I want to create like, I didn't even mention this, but it was called, me and my dad came up with this thing called Got Your Back Chef. And it was like this wire rack that held like an 8th pan or a 6th pan, I think they're called. Like a little square metal pan, but it was just a holder you could hang on a rack, and it would just hold it. So you're like tongs and utensils, and like this doesn't exist. Like this thing doesn't exist, but now it does because we're entrepreneurs and we created this thing out of nothing. So like I'm an entrepreneur. Like I don't want to be a CEO of Geico and run a business. I want to create things.
No matter how much millions get deposited.
No. Maybe for a couple of years, and then take that, and family's all good, and then I'll go back.
But the exit in mind of then I want to get back and create.
Yeah, I want to go create stuff. So I feel like entrepreneurs are naturally creative, and then there's business people that they're CEOs and they just run businesses, which is great and totally fine, nothing wrong with it. But I feel like we're talking about two different things. So
thank you.
Yeah, I am a small business owner, and I don't get offended when someone's like, "Oh, you have a small business." I'm like, yeah, like whatever. I don't know, like that doesn't bother me. But I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Like that's what I go by. Like because I'm creating things that aren't out there yet, or they're new, or they're different, or they're just not the same old.
What do you say to people like, man, you just biting? That's been done.
Yeah,
you're like, has it though?
Yeah,
like not like this.
I haven't seen this one. Yeah, this is a new one.
You know what? Thank you for that definition.
Yeah.
I think that's one that I'm gonna echo.
Yeah.
From now on till forever, because there is a difference.
Yeah.
And thank you for highlighting it that way.
I think creativity is the difference. So I feel like I am a creative person through business. That's my medium, right? I'm not a painter. I'm not a singer. I'm not that kind of artist, but I am creative through business. I like creative business things, but I don't want to run a gas station, even though I'm making $1 million a year. Like it's just, I would feel unfulfilled. Maybe my pockets would be fuller, but I would feel unfulfilled for sure.
Are those two things mutually exclusive though? Where is
I could be, I could build, you can be an entrepreneur and build this up and then run the business.
Right.
And then you're like, an entrepreneur that's running a business. Now you're a business, person.
I mean, a good way to solve that would be to hire or partner with the people who, I think it gets down to the personal thing again.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are you the kind of person who needs that structure? Be here at this time. This is how much you're working for. This is your expectation. This is the deadline.
Yeah.
Or are you the person like, hey, here's a cool problem no one's addressing.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a month. I don't know what I'm going to be back with. Like,
yeah.
There's I like going beyond the horizon. I always talk about Moana. Again, talking to the 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Is I for storytelling, and this is a large part of what I do, is that there's acts. People call it act 1, act 2, act 3, right?
Yeah.
And there's a moment where your main character is going to have to leave. For Moana, it's literally going past the brakes and past the horizon into what does that represent? That's the unknown. You can't see any land. You don't know where Maui is. You don't know where I forgot the name of the heart or whatever thing.
Yeah.
She's looking for something she can't find. Mm-hmm. And she takes the leap. It happens across millennia. Humans have told this story a million times. That's not new. What's new then is that the way that you do it, the way that Loren does it, the way that Kenji does it, the way the person watching this who's building does it. That's the part that you're adding. Commodities and value add conversation.
Yeah.
But it's our job then to do something that other people have done. But then what we do, we leave behind these kind of, I was going to say breadcrumbs, but I want to say ulu crumbs.
Ulu crumbs.
We leave behind these ulu crumbs. And there's a certain like, dare I say addictive nature to exploring that unknown part.
Oh, I'm addicted.
Fully.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be addiction, could be good or bad.
And it's a problem for me. It's a problem for me. I am so addicted to like starting new things that it is 100% one of my biggest issues is like moving on too fast or not giving it the go, because like as we were talking earlier, a lot of the people that are deemed successful or made it is like they just don't stop going. Like when they're, like you're saying, your partner's saying, hey, they're crossing the desert. But, a lot of people stop crossing the desert halfway or 3/4 away. No one knows where the finish line is. No one knows. But a lot of people will end up stopping before they get to whatever finish line it may be. And then that's just what happens. So really the people that make it are people that just like, oh man, I think it was Steve Jobs. I think it was Steve Jobs. And I don't remember it exactly, but he's basically saying like, people that come up with this stuff, they're insane because they keep doing these crazy, crazy things and it's not working. Oh my God, I've been doing this for 6 years. It's not working. And then boom, 10 years, it's in and it's huge, it's massive and it's Apple, or something like that. Right. Yeah. So it's like, you have to be crazy to like do this kind of stuff because it's insane. It is insane. It's like to put yourself in this much stress and put out this much money and work on this because like, we don't work 40 hours a week. We work 80 hours a week. There's no stopping.
There's
like
no
I'm
clocking in and clocking out.
No, there's none, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Personal question.
Yeah.
How does the wifey, the fiance, deal with that?
Yeah. So
deal with this person. You know what I mean? Like this insane.
Yeah. This is why I love her. And like we work, this is why I love her and why we, work so well together is that she allows me to be, everybody wants this, right? They want your spouse to allow you to be you, and she allows me to be me. So she allows me to do I could go with her. I could come up with the craziest idea, even though I'm just like making it up in my head and I'm like, oh, this is obviously not a good idea, but I'm just going to tell her anyways.
Right.
I could tell her that. She'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Or like, good job. Or like, are you going to start on that tomorrow? Like, that's how she would be, she wouldn't even doubt it. She would just be like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, go for it, Wow. And like, that's why, I gravitated towards her a lot because she's always there supporting me, letting me be me. And she trusts that eventually I'll figure it out, or whatever it is. Like, she doesn't doubt it. It's like, again, I have no college degree. Like, I've been working for myself since day one, so it's like, she's not saying, hey, hey, it's about that time, you gave your little Ulu thing a shot, like it's time to go get a real big boy job, no, none of that. She's just like, hey, I'm behind you 100%, let's go. And that's why I am super lucky to have found her. So that's
a real one.
Yeah, it's a real one. Yeah.
I saw you on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a picture.
Yeah, I saw a picture. Yeah. So it was good, but that's a great question. Yeah, because she's just all about it. And yeah, if I was with a girl that wasn't about, it wouldn't work out.
Well, I mean, look, you know how they say, what is it? The apple don't fall far from the tree. Look at your dad and your mom.
Yeah, yeah.
How well they kind of work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And anybody who, like yourself, I think we did a pretty good job of like saying, this is who can benefit from listening to this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like these people, listen, it's the person going through the desert who wants to go, who's a bit more comfortable with the unknown. And so for those people who are like, yep, that's my guy. This is my tribe. This is my vibe.
Yeah, yeah,
For
yeah.
those people, one of their hurdles is the partner,
Yeah.
the plus
I didn't
one,
think about that.
the wife, the girlfriend, the person, whoever boyfriend, like the other person who they're I don't want to say obligated, but who they're with,
Yeah.
who
Well,
can cause friction or can be the rocket fuel.
well, you're on the team, you know, you're on a
Yeah.
team. It's like, I'm not, you know, I'm engaged, I'm not married yet, but like boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever you got, like you're on a team with them, right? So
Exactly.
you're still going down this road of life, you know, and it's like, you got to figure out your operating rules or whatever, but it's like you're still on a team no matter what, you know? So.
And the thing is, like, when you say, and as we know, in this world, this entrepreneurship world, this creative world, your mind doesn't stop. There's no clocking in, there's no clocking out.
Yeah.
There's no, I left work and now I'm home. It's always on.
Yeah.
And so when you're with someone who's like that,
Yeah.
I can see, I've heard in people I know and stuff, it causes friction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes the Loren, will be like, man, like, I want to feel charged up. I want to feel recharged when I come home. I don't want to feel like drained.
Yeah.
I'm already, every hour, waking hour, I'm thinking, I'm creating, I'm writing shit down.
Yeah.
I feel like there's this like, it's almost this bigger thing that's happening that I'm plugged into that just doesn't stop. That's what I'm dealing with all the time. And then to be next to someone who can either facilitate, support, or maybe impede, doubt, like that causes a lot of friction in a lot of people. So no matter how much, let's say down the road, like you are that mentor, that person who does consulting and such, you know, like eventually you're going to have this kind of conversation. The person, the idea, the business is sound, but the home, the relationship, the partner is the main part that they're like, yo, I need help with this.
You know, it's like, I'm very cognizant of that, you know, so I know it's like, I do want to have a family. I do want to have like kids and all that stuff. And I don't even own a home over here on Oahu. Like I rent, you know, and, so, you know, I have a lot of things that are coming up that are pretty expensive, you know, and it's like, I do know, I mean, it is on my mind. You know, you do have to be a responsible person at the same time. So I'm not saying there's like a time limit on this, but I'm saying like, if I'm still chugging down the road and I really just haven't made it after a certain amount of years, I'm like, man, maybe I wouldn't be good at it, but maybe I do have to get a job, you know, like it is on my mind of something that could potentially happen. You know, obviously that's super last case scenario, but to be responsible with my partner and to have a family, something's gotta give, right? Either this blows up or I gotta get like a solid job, right? So it exists, but you know, I know that I just know I got to be responsible at some point. So it's like, how far down the road do I go? You know,
that's something.
How far in the desert before you reach the oasis?
Well, because when you're alone in the desert, it's different.
Yeah,
you want to share the oasis with everyone, but going through the desert. And part of men, okay, part of men, 30-something men out there, right?
Yeah.
Us. We feel the pressure to provide.
Yeah,
period.
100%, yeah.
Period. Whether that's bringing home some ahi slabs, or bringing home this nice $20,000 check.
Yeah.
Whatever the case, we want to come home and provide.
Yeah.
And so when that path to providing seems, or maybe it's just us perceiving that the people around us are impeding us, that can cause a friction. That can cause the sort of the ultimatum in your head where you're like, fuck, is it time to like call it quits?
Yeah.
Is it time to get a job?
Yeah.
Is it time to do the safer, less riskier thing? Because now I'm not risking just me alone in the desert. Great. Dehydrated.
Yeah. All good. Yeah. We're sleeping on the rocks, but it's all good. No worries.
But now it's them.
Yeah.
The kids. And like, there's no playbook of that because it's so specific to every single person and every family, every situation, culture, language, and all of that. So specific. But I know that 6-year-old and 4-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Having I want to impart the stewardship thing. I do kind of want to take them through the desert, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to be exposed to these kinds of experiences that whether or not they choose to pursue it or not, they at least have that experience of going through this hard thing, this thing that was difficult, this barrier that I faced. I recognized it. My dad pointed it out. He told me about it, and I faced it.
Yeah.
And then I overcame it. Or maybe, you know what? I ran away.
Yeah.
Like, have that experience, though,
Mm-hmm.
and then just keep building on it. She just had her first, like, karate championship tournament thing.
Yeah.
One of her friends forgot her kata, her form, and so she didn't want to go line up.
Oh.
And she was like, my daughter was like, I'm nervous. She's never like had this kind of thing before. And I'm like, okay, good. This is your barrier. This is your unknown.
Yeah,
you don't know anybody in the gym.
Yeah,
You're used to going to class at school.
Yeah.
There's a gym full of people.
Yeah.
And there's a mat where you're gonna stand in front of everybody, in front of judges you don't know, like next to people you don't know.
Yeah.
And so she faced it. But I feel like you gotta give that opportunity to a certain degree. Now, to what degree, right? Like, are we sleeping on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, this is a new challenge. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying, but
She loves me, but
figuring that out is that's a whole nother desert.
Yeah.
So I don't have the answers, but I do. Speaking of which, I gotta go pick up this one.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it. Hey, where can people find you?
Okay, so HawaiianFarmersMarket.com. That's our e-commerce site where I sell hundreds of locally made value-added products made here in Hawaii. Find us on Ulumana Hawaii, Instagram, Hawaiian Farmers Market, Instagram. So yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hey,
being on here. I love it. This is great, man.
Hey, first of many, man. Like I said, here it is, open door policy.
Yeah.
If you think of something like,
Oh, I'm sleeping outside now. I'm coming in every day and talk to this. Yeah.
whenever you make it past Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
Or-
right. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep driving. Yeah.
I gotta go to Ever Beach. Oh,
Yeah.
Kenji.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right. Thank
Good
you.
stuff. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, dude. Yeah, sweet, dude. That was awesome.
I'll give you all this stuff too. I don't know. Do you have somebody who like edits or no?
I
No.